Okay, here we go. I always start a nutrition talk with a small disclaimer that this information is just for your own education, and it's never meant to take the place of the advice of your healthcare provider or your doctor. In Jing Tai Chi flow, we're learning to open ourselves to that sense of flow. We use the movement, we use our bodies, our breath, and we use our awareness to feel that flow. There's flow all around us. And of course, there's flow inside of us as well. But do you realize that your physical body is also always in a flow? For example, you make new taste buds every 10 days. And you make new skin cells every 2 to 4 weeks, actually an average of 27 days. The surface lining of your lungs also gets regenerated. Those cells get replenished every 2 to 3 weeks. And red blood cells, we make them in our bone marrow, but they only live for about 120 days. And we make a lot of them, about 2 million a second. So your red blood cells are a great example of how your body is a flow. How about your fingernails? You make new fingernails every 6 to 10 months. And even your bones are living tissue. Those cells are constantly replacing themselves. And over a period of about 10 years, you make an entirely new skeleton. So you're not a lump of clay like this family. You're not solid. You really are a flow. You're constantly changing. You're constantly recreating yourself. So how does this relate to nutrition? For all of the trillions of processes to take place in your body, to make these new cells, to heal, to repair, to generate new tissue, to make your own hormones and neurotransmitters, to detoxify your body, you need the right building blocks. And these building blocks come from the delicious, nutritious food that you eat and drinking enough water. We can categorize nutrients like this. We have macronutrients, fats, carbohydrates, and protein. And they're called macronutrients because we need a lot of them. And then we have micronutrients, our vitamins and our minerals. And again, they're called micronutrients because we require less of them, but they are essential. They're very, very crucial for good health. And we need water. So these are our building blocks: macronutrients, micronutrients, and water. And in the world of nutrition, we believe that we can rely on 6 nutritional foundations to really have good health. So these are our 6 foundations for good health. And I'm hoping we can do a talk on each one of these: hydration, blood sugar, digestion, fats and oils, minerals, and what good nutrition is. And this applies to all diets. Of all the 6 foundations, hydration, water, is the most important. This is the most essential nutrient for good health, and it's the one, ironically, that we're most deficient in. And that's why I want to talk about it today. So for today, let's talk about why we need water and also why we might not be getting enough. And then I want to show you some really delicious ways to create infused waters like these. Okay, so far we've talked about how all around us energy flows. Energy also flows within us, but our physical body is also in a flow. We're always regenerating and creating new cells. We're healing tissue and repairing our body. Our physical body is very much a flow. And in order to do all of this regeneration, we need the right nutrients. And the right nutrients come from our macronutrients, so that's fats, carbohydrates, and protein. We need micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and we need water. We also talked about the 6 foundations of good nutrition, knowing what good nutrition is for me, what a good diet is for me, balanced blood sugar, good digestion. We need the right balance of minerals, we need the right oils and fats in our diet, and we need proper hydration. And of all of those, the most important being hydration, being water. So now let's talk about what water actually does for you and why it's so important. Well, water is life. And while all the nutrients flow through the body, nothing's more obvious as a flow than water. Water is crucial for health and longevity, and it's required by every cell in your body, all 30 trillion of them. Did you know you're 55 to 60% water? Your brain and your heart are almost 75% water. And your lungs are 83% water. Even your bones have water. About 31% of your bones are water. Water helps facilitate oxygen and nutrient delivery to all the cells in your body. So this is important for keeping a clear mind, for staying fit, for having enough energy, for healthy aging. And again, pretty much every body system is going to need oxygen and nutrients. So for that delivery system to work well, we need water. Did you know that water can reduce cravings and hunger? Sometimes our signaling gets confused and we think we're hungry or we're craving something like sugar, and really we're just thirsty. Water hydrates your cells and it lubricates your joints. So without enough water, you can't really make good synovial fluid. This is the fluid around your joints that protects them and helps them work well. So water is really important for your joints. And water helps keep your stool regular and flushes toxins from your body. A common complaint people can have is constipation. And a lot of times it's simply they're dehydrated. They don't drink enough water. Water helps regulate your body temperature. And water nourishes your brain and your spinal cord. Water is essential for good digestion because without water, we can't make saliva and we can't make gastric juices. And these juices and these fluids are what break down the foods so we can absorb them. So if we're dehydrated, we can't make enough of these juices, and it's a lot harder to digest our food. And I'm not talking about drinking lots of water with your meals. I'm talking about just general states of your entire body being hydrated. Go ahead and have a sip of water if you'd like. Dehydration, not having enough water. Symptoms of dehydration might surprise you. What causes dehydration? Some medications can cause you to be dehydrated, or recreational drugs. So how much water do we need? Women need about 8.5 to 11.5 cups a day, or 2 to 2.7 liters of water. And men need about 12.5. So how about food for hydration? Do we get water from food? Sure we do. We get about 20% of our daily water through the foods that we eat, and 80% comes from the water that we drink. And all foods contain some water. For example, a cup of chops. Now you certainly don't want to overhydrate. Sometimes people just drink way too much water, and this is not healthy. It can change your mineral. What are good beverages for hydration? Well, healthy choices are going to be, of course, water, bone broth if you're not a vegetarian, even natural sugars. And if you're not sure what's in the beverage that you're drinking, anything that ends in OSE is a sugar. Fruit juice, beer, coconut water, and cow's milk are not optimal ways to hydrate. And this is because they all contain simple sugars. And simple sugars raise blood sugar, raise blood glucose, and this can contribute to insulin resistance, diabetes, and obesity. When it comes to coconut water, because a lot of us tend to think of coconut water as having natural electrolytes, and that might be our go-to beverage for when we go hiking. So if you have a question about that, just look at the sugar content in the coconut water that you're drinking. Some of them are very high in sugar. See if you can find one that has less sugar in it. Best to drink the bulk of your water away from meals. It's okay to sip a little bit with meals, but if you drink a lot of water with a meal, it can make it harder to digest. And we'll get into that. We'll get into digestion as a future topic. So here's a bonus. First thing in the morning, pour yourself a big glass of water, sprinkle a little bit of a really good quality sea salt or a pink salt. Okay, so in that last little section, we talked about dehydration. What are some of the signs of dehydration? What are some of the causes? How much water should I be drinking each day? And what are good beverages to make sure that I'm getting enough water every day? So next, what I'd like to talk about is why it is that some people really have trouble staying hydrated, why they have trouble even drinking water or drinking enough water. And then I want to get into some really delicious recipes for how to make water infusions. Why is this woman making a face at a glass of water? Believe it or not, I hear this all the time, clients saying, I don't like water, I don't like the taste of it, and I never drink it. So what to do if you just don't like drinking water? Well, first check your water supply. Consider researching that we call internal dampness or a damp stagnation pattern. And people that have internal damp, they tend to not want to drink. They tend to not want to drink water because, so how do you know if you have internal dampness? Well, you might have a puffy tongue. And this is by no means diagnostic, what I just presented to you, but if you think you could be having issues with internal dampness, think about working with a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine or someone who's an Ayurvedic practitioner, someone who understands the language of internal dampness, or a lymphatic therapist. They're great for moving the fluid system. Or you could explore moving your own lymphatic fluids through getting regular exercise, jumping on a trampoline. That is really good for moving the fluids in your body, dry skin brushing, and staying hydrated. You need to drink enough water so that the fluids will move through your body, and this can help prevent damp stagnation. Making it sparkle. Let's talk about carbonated water for a minute. We used to think that carbonated water leached minerals from your bones, and it wasn't a healthy choice. And it turns out that the studies, now if you still just don't like water, or if you're interested in playing with your beverages and finding ways to make your water really delicious, let's talk about water infusions. You can flavor your water with all sorts of herbs, fresh fruits and vegetables, and even spices to make delicious water. And there's no end to the flavors and combinations you can make. So what kind of flavors appeal to you? Jasmine tea, hibiscus tea. But when I add tea to my infused waters, I like to make the tea separate because sometimes when tea sits in water for a long time, it can. And did I mention how great this is for the environment? No plastic bottles and no cans. And these waters are full of minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, and phytonutrients from the fruits and vegetables. I think they make hydration really fun and delicious. So I hope you'll explore the world of infusing your water, and we would love it if you would take a snapshot of what you're infusing, take a snapshot of your drink, and post it on HeartSpace or on Facebook or on our Instagram. And next time, I'd like to explore balancing blood sugar and the world of carbohydrates.